And the worst thing about it is you can't even get rid of that product. Like it's just, it's stuck. Like you can't sell it off. You can't give it to like Marshalls or, you know, Home Goods or something like that. Like that product is done. One of the worst horror stories that I ever heard, I was going to talk to a golf brand and we were showing them RepSpark and we were talking to them about the importance of insignia and how we were able to customize, you know, support the customization of product. And they told me the worst horror story I've ever heard. So they had an order for about 500 units of product, of polo shirts, and they were gonna customize it with the club's logo, and instead of putting it on the right chest, they put it on the left chest, and instead of club colors, they did like matching colors or tonal, I don't really remember. And the whole entire batch was done incorrectly. It was for a tournament. The club did not want to accept it because they didn't want all of their members to have the product. And the worst thing about it is you can't even get rid of that product. Like it's just, it's stuck. Like you can't sell it off. You can't give it to like Marshalls or, you know, Home Goods or something like that. Like that product is done. And that was a huge horror story because they just had to eat the cost. So this is a horror story that I know is gonna be super cringy for people, and we all are so worried about this happening, even in software, but especially in apparel, a lot of times you will give terms or you will continue shipping to a retail location because they've been in business for forever. They have a great relationship, they have net 30 terms, net 60 terms. And I just heard a horror story of a brand that continually shipped this retail location for 4 to 5 months. The retail location went belly up. They couldn't pay their bills. So not only was that brand out, I think it was about $1 million of product that was at that retail location because they had shipped them multiple times. They couldn't get the product back. They're now in line at a bankruptcy court trying to get their money back. But they had also didn't have that cash now for inventory for other brands. So I was told this story and then I asked, how can you tell that this is gonna happen so we can share that too? Apparently, or the thought is, if someone is slow to pay, even if at net 30 or net 60, if someone's not answering phone calls, maybe go ahead and pause on that next shipment. This also kind of led me to how AR Hub might be able to help you. So RepSpark will be releasing AR Hub, and that way you'll have that direct line of communication with the buyers as they're placing their next order, and you can tell them, hey, this might not get shipped if you don't pay these outstanding invoices. Well, this was a horror story that I just couldn't believe. So there was a private equity roll-up, and the private equity firm came in and bought a silk screening shop. They bought the shop because the shop was so successful. They were doing the silk screening for a brand license. So a lot of times, like the brand will build, will do the apparel and shorts and sweatshirts and knits and things like that, but they might not do the silk screening part. So a lot of times the t-shirts or the license for the t-shirts are outsourced, and they'll be outsourced to a silk screening company that kind of, you know, silk screens for a certain brand. Well, this private equity firm was doing a roll-up, and so they brought the silk screening company. They never checked that the license for the major brand that they were buying the shop for, which is why that silk screening shop was so successful, the license of the brand was not to be renewed after a year. Well, when the private equity bought the firm or the silk screening shop, they were thinking they would get their money back over like 5, 6, 7 years. Well, the license didn't renew after a year, and that whole shop went belly up because that's what was sustaining them. So moral of the story there is to make sure you know what you're buying, make sure to know what you're doing, and to read the fine print.